You ready? Go, 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 go. 3, 2, 1. In the bottom left-hand corner, what we were saying is the red Terran player is Cure. First out from Team Korea. A very strong all-around player. And he had to go out. He had to be set out first because Team Korea lost the 4v4. So they sent him out to see what the Team World would do. And Team World choose to respond immediately with Serral. What will they do with max packs? In what regard? They'll probably send him out to play at some point as part of their team, I have to imagine. But every player just gets to go out when their team picks them to go out. Game 1 here of this best of 5. Again, expecting this to be a very fun series. Just expecting this to be a very fun day in general. I mean, they're going to do 4 hours of this, guys, so about half an hour in already. So the next 3.5 hours we'll have coverage of this. And then we actually have WardiTV European League today with Clem, Showtime, Young Yakov, and Geralt, I want to say, I believe is the 4th player in that group. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I've not double-checked in a little bit, but that's roughly what's going to happen. Orbital in the bottom left. We do have a command center coming through, Reaper coming in. That orbital is going to be finishing in just a couple of moments as our hatch gas and pool all comes to completion in the next moment or so. Obviously, pretty peaceful opening as we are playing on this new patch and the new maps. First time I'm casting Serral on the new maps and the new patch as well, so that should be interesting to see just how this turns out as we just have ourselves the Overlord having a little bit of a scout around, trying to see a little bit of what's going on. Moving around to the left as that link speed starts up on the side of Serral. So that link speed coming up, the couple queens coming in. We do have the command center already building on the natural expansion, and again the factory and the reactor building up from Kua. Very, very standard openings. Well, the map that really has this one seems to be picked all of the time as map, well, in series in general. Although, Kira obviously picks it as map 1 here, so you must think this is fairly good for Terran out of the 5 maps that remained. Do you feel like it can be fun? Some good positions you can take with tanks and so on? It's going to be, I mean, that's one of the most interesting things about new map pools, right? When a new map pool comes around, it takes the Terrans a little while to really figure out all of the, the tank positions, the little corners and nooks and crannies they can squeeze tanks into, and all of these things that generally just kind of become way more interesting over time as players figure out the maps. We do have our Reaper coming around. Yeah, guys, we don't have cameras. I could get us cameras if we watch the clean feed, but I usually think it's better to watch from not the clean feed and watch in-game, because the clean feed can sometimes be a bit laggy. Sometimes it's not as high quality. The game itself is going to look better. It comes at the cost of us not having cameras, but I could maybe make some magic happen. I don't think I can, actually, because I think there'll be a desync with the live game and the clean feed, so I probably can't, actually. I was thinking maybe I could open the clean feed and just cut out the cameras and add them to my screen, but I don't think that's going to work, so yeah, because obviously there's going to be, it would be delayed, so you just see like Serral's reaction to something happening 30 seconds after, or something like that, you know, so it wouldn't really be synced up at all. As Cyclones are coming out, it's going to be 4 Cyclones into 1-1 upgrades. Are Cyclones going to be like the new Hellion opener? Like, we just build a bunch of Cyclones to deal some damage and to take some map control? And then we go into Bio after. It's going to be interesting to see where these units really settle in terms of how people use them, how people deal with them. You know, because it's been overhauled, where you're not really seeing the full potential of the Cyclone yet, I think. We're not really seeing fully what sort of builds it can fit into, what sort of builds can really benefit from this and really do things with it. So, a lot of excitement there as well. As our lair comes up, a few drones are coming in. The Queen building up too. As we just have ourselves a couple of additional barracks on the way up from Qs. Again, a couple of racks down. The 1-1 upgrades and the stim pack all coming up as well. Just seeing our Cyclones gathering at the front then as our drone comes over. Just going to nibble up and take out a few more minerals. So just clearing those for the moment as 1-1 upgrades and stim pack are going to continue through. The barracks going to continue in as well. The armory coming up too. All of this getting settled down for these early few minutes. Lair in the Bailey Nest building as well. Extra drones are coming in. Queens are producing. And obviously the Cyclones haven't really done much. They're just sitting on guard. The beauty of opening Cyclones versus Hellions is maybe the Cyclones can't poke around as much, but you're going to be much safer against any sort of more aggressive Roach attack straight away. The Hellions don't help you too much against a lot of the Roach timings. The Cyclone should be an amazing helping hand. So it's a very safe way to set up into what is now a very fast 3cc 1-1 upgrade situation. So Cure's setup is now very good. His economy is great. His upgrades are looking fantastic. Cure puts himself in a great place, and it's going to come at a cost, yes. And that cost is going to be okay. The creep spread is going to be very good from Serral. He's going to have a lot of map control that maybe you would have been able to fight against with the Hellions. But is the power of Cure's attack just going to make up for it? It absolutely could, as the Cyclone here will just put some damage on that Overseer. We'll be able to turn around for the Changeling in a second as well. Just finish that off. As they do have Ling Bane continuing out from Serral. Baneling speed. Not even got Evo Chambers started with the upgrades yet. He's got them in the game, but he hasn't started them up yet. And I wonder if he doesn't quite know if he wants to go melee or missiles, because Serral's information here doesn't tell him whether this has been mech or bio. He saw this setup. I don't know if that necessarily tells you. He saw this, but I don't know if that necessarily tells you it's bio. He saw some melee upgrades. I think he does know. I think it's just one of those moments when maybe the barracks built a tech lab, the factory's going to go jump onto that tech lab, and then we build other factory on the reactor or so, right? That's a world that maybe could have set up if we wanted to get a siege tank out or so quickly. Probably doesn't make too much sense. I think maybe that's not the read you really get from that. The more I think about it, the less it really adds up as that Overseer. Trying to get in, that's something else the Cyclones are great at, really denying the information as best as possible. But now Serral gets the scout, and he's going to know that this is 8 barracks. So 8 racks of 3 bases, and off of a very strong, not just 3 base, but again, fast upgrades. We're going to be talking about 2-2 finishing when 1-1 is just about done from Serral. So the Terran's going to have an entire set of upgrade lead for pretty much the entirety of, you know, the time it takes for Serral to build 2-2. That's like 2 minutes of being able to fight with a massive upgrade advantage. That's a huge deal breaker. Like, that makes a massive difference in these early stages as the Marines, they are going to come up. They are going to go after a couple of Zerglings. And the Ling Bane does pull back for just a couple of moments there. So they're going to back away as our Marines come through. The rest of the Ling Bane coming across, and the Medevac's just loading up. The Cyclones are there. Going to push things back a little bit themselves. As you have our Burrow upgrade continuing up. Hive is on the way as well. So all of that coming through. The Bio setting up. The Cyclones are going to press to the front. One more Zergling going down. Just seeing our Hive still coming through. The extra Lings in production. The Burrow is building. There's a lot more Banelings over on that left-hand side. 11 Banelings extra being morphed in as Serral just readies himself to fight against it. I mean, this is going to be terrifying. Serral's pulling a bit of money right now. But the fact that he's going to have a Terran Force with 2-2 rampant, you know, basically maxed out, we're going to be actually maxed at 9 minutes. Like, this is 8:30 and we're 180 supply, 2-2 finished. Like, the timing that Cure is getting away with here is insane. Like, the greed he was able to get to because he had the safety net of the Cyclones. Serral knows fighting straight up probably ain't it, so he's going to start counterattacking, catching reinforcements, shutting down some economy. And then what else? Well, he has Burrow finishing. If he can get some Burrow Banelings off, then brilliant. But will he have the chance to execute that? Remember, this fight happens with a Terran upgrade lead. The Banelings are melting as they run forward here. They will finally get onto some of these units, but the Marauders ain't dying. I mean, Serral has killed 20 SCVs on the other side of the map. His Lings will not stop, as we do have the Bane still trying to move forward here. So yes, he's rampaged through the mineral line over there. He's starting to meet reinforcements. That's starting to get cleaned up, but he is not cleaning up himself. This group of bio units that are out on the map, they are continuing forward, and the Baneling nest will fall. So there goes a massive helping hand of this Zerg force. No more Banelings allowed for a little while. That is a huge delay, as these few Banelings still trying to slip on through. The Marauders are putting some damage out. The Banelings taking a lot of hits. Will be going down. The Zerglings are getting cleaned up as well. It really feels as though right here Kira is going to have himself a victory in game 1. The greed is insane, and he gets away with it. GG's. Kua takes game 1 of this best of 5. In the top left-hand side, we're going to start off with the blue Terran player. This is Kua, up 1 in this best of 5 opening series in this Korea versus World matchup. Bottom right, our red Zerg from Basilisk. It is Serral. Also representing Team World in this Korea versus World matchup. And sent out first. It does put some pressure on him. If Serral falls this early, well, A, who do you then send out against Cure? Because in theory, this is who you thought was going to have the best shot against Cure. So then who do you send out against Cure next? And B, well, then you don't have Serral for the rest of the matches. That's definitely going to put you in a bit of a deficit. I think at the very least, Serral has to take out Cure. At the very least. Because Cure is dangerous enough to ult kill. I actually think if Cure beats Serral, I think Team World would probably send out Oliveira. Because Oliveira's had the better of Cure in best of threes and ESL Open Cups lately. I think you then send out Oliveira, and then maybe you send out Maxpax. And then you keep like Estrella and Clem. You definitely don't send out Clem against Cure. Clem's, it doesn't matter how good Clem ZvT might feel like it's getting, but I just don't think you send out Clem. Yes, guys, this can be 9 best of 5s as it goes the full distance, but they're only going to play 4 hours today, and then they'll play the next 4 hours on Monday. So obviously, World Team League happens the next 3 days, so they would play the next 4 hours on Monday as a bit of a switch up. As our Overlord heading to the upper left-hand side, so on a bit of a journey across to the other side, seeing what's going on. Hatch gas Panapool coming out for the moment. I'm following this Overlord, but there is now a Reaper on the map, so let's maybe jump into a little bit of that for that little bit of fun. I decide who I want to follow. Let's try to follow the Chinese Observer and see how good Doll is. Doll's been the admin for a long time, but it's on the observing role today, apparently. Unless it's just someone on Doll's account. Reaper coming around. A couple of Lings going to go chase the Reaper away for a couple of moments here. And we do have ourselves the command center in the factory, continuing to be built in these early stages. This Reaper's going to come back around over on the sides. And there we get ourselves just a few moments of figuring out what exactly is going to happen here. Obviously, wait to see what the builds are going to be. As this time, Kira has double gas, so he will have himself access to that kind of form of setup. He is going to go factory onto the reactor, and I feel as though we're probably going to see Cyclones. And they're just so cheap. It's actually crazy that they're 50 gas. No? I think that's the craziest part, is that they're so cheap, they're so producible. You know? And you can react to them, too. It's... What a wild unit. So interesting. As our Reaper comes back up through the center, Overlord going to have a little bit of an eye on that Reaper, keeping an eye on it as it just moves up to the top, so the Reaper going to pull back to the upper left. A couple Cyclones coming in, a couple Queens are coming out, with the drones coming in too. Just seeing our medevac of Cure is about halfway done, it's just getting that completed up. As, yeah, a couple more Hellions are going to be on the way as well, so getting those extra Hellions coming out for the moment. Looking good right there. And otherwise, well, the first Cyclones move onto the map. What is Serral's response to those initial Cyclones going to be? What is his plan looking like at this point? Well, first units come on that push, and we do have, again, a bit of a different approach with a couple Cyclones, then a couple Hellions, and even the medevac with the Marines in as well. So a little bit of everything for this attack, as we'll knock one Overlord down. Serral is clear of being supply blocked for the moment, so not quite in trouble just yet. These units start to look for the chance to maybe move onto the creep spread here. The Queens, a few of those going to peel away to the side, drop down one creep tumor, the other Queen's back on the left. And just have ourselves the first Reaper coming through. Is going to get knocked down immediately by a Queen. There's that Baneling Nest flare. A couple of drones still being produced as well. Looks as though for the moment Serral is safe enough. He's not going to let this pressure cure do too much apart from sniping an Overlord here and there. Just wants to try and keep his creep moving forward as well, though. He wants to try and get access to... He has this forward base, but, you know, this base is also good to take as your fourth. Eventually, if a Zerg can reach out to the far bottom left, it's a bit of a jump from here to here. But if you can reach there, it obviously is a gold base, and that's something that I think a lot of Zergs will prioritize throughout the mid-game of Golden Aura. Trying to get that gold base up, take the economic advantage further than they usually have it with that gold, and it will put a lot of pressure on the Terran to attack down there, and that maybe leaves the Terran exposed, especially on this kind of triangular base, which Terrans usually like to take 4/3. I think this map's going to have some interesting developments when it comes to the... Yeah, I think this map's going to have some very interesting developments when it comes to playing ZvT and just kind of how the bases expand, what bases people like to take, and how players go about defending those bases as well. There's a lot of intrigue, I think, on Golden Aura, as our queens continue to gather up. If this goes long, will Wardy have to leave the European League? In theory, this ends when the tournament lasts 4 hours. So, in theory, this ends when European League starts. If it does lapse into European League, we will prioritize this, and we will cast... We'll just join European League late, or we will just cast the European League from replays. Depends how much it overlaps. I would imagine it doesn't overlap more than like a series or so. So yeah, but we will prioritize casting this because this is just very good games, obviously. Kind of just makes sense. That's my rough plan, obviously. It kind of really depends on the timing. If it looks like it's going to take 10 more minutes, we can probably ask European League players to wait a little bit too. As the armory goes down to the natural, the few Hellions get back up to the front of the third. So they're just going to be chilling out over there. Marines and Cyclones come pressing forward. They will take that watchtower in the bottom left as our Zerglings, our Banelings, making their way to the top left-hand side. The medevac will go to the bottom left with the tank and the Marines. Also, as the Lings get a wraparound, all of those Hellions taking damage. SCVs are going to be taking some shots as well. So that's a couple of workers already being dropped. And now our Banes are going to come through, crash into those depots, take those out. And Serral's counterattack is immediately looking good this time as those SCVs. We lose 12 now so far. The few Lings getting up this ramp. If they get on top of that tank, that's amazing. If you can get rid of it, I don't think we have the DPS to, and SCVs can repair as well. So nothing more done. Serral is losing this left side base, but he has established this forward base instead. He's launching more Lings to go counterattack once more. Serral seems pretty determined in terms of what he wants to achieve in that regard. I mean, there's not many SCVs left here. There's honestly not many units left here. The tank on the high ground still set up. That's very important. I think there's going to be enough Marines to probably hold this off. Serral, a few moments from getting his own 1-1 upgrades, which will help a lot in some of these trades. I think I like the most what he's doing right now, which is pulling the Lings back from the counterattack and maybe using those as a flank to this army. They're not here yet as Serral picks this fight with his 1-1 finishing. Tries to pull his Banelings away. One more tank shot does go off on them. This last tank will go down, just not get one final connection on those Zerglings that were all stacked up. That would have obviously been even more beautiful as our medevacs continue to unload. Out over on the left-hand side of the map here. 7 meters coming out, the army of Kua going around the right-hand side. The Marines come over, knocking down a Baneling as well. This Ling Bane still continuing back and forth as our Marines coming through. A couple more creep tumors getting picked off. Now the Ling Bane comes over, chasing down these Marines, chasing down those medevacs. But the Muta's coming out, though, you're going to be able to start taking some better control on the side of Serral. So that's going to help him out a lot as well. As now we see Mutas working their way to the upper left-hand side. Kua, just with Marine and Tank, pressing into the center. The Mutas continue up the left side. +2 melee, +2 carapace, all continuing as our Mutalists will dive into this natural. SCVs will start to take some damage. Six, 7 workers going down on the right side. Marines are going to press forward. A little bit more creep spread has been pushed back. And now we're going to get this hatchery. So they're all going to lose a 4th base again. I mean, he's doing enough where obviously losing a 4th is kind of sustainable or manageable for him because he is slowing down the Terran economy and has done so significantly. Once again, going to stream across with the Lings, but he's going to decide that fight just ain't it. Here's about to finish his +2 attack, which is going to be well ahead of the Terrans 2-2. But his +2 armor will be a bit behind, so there's going to be a little bit of a kind of a slalom effect on the upgrades where one player gets up ahead and the other player gets back on the other side. So at different points here, just watch for what those upgrades are going into these fights because they're going to tell you a little bit of who might hold at least a little bit of an edge. Just come up the left side and the depots are going to be immediately in some trouble. There's one SCV going down. Now I'm just going to get 1, 2, 3 Marines. Marines, tanks, medevacs, and liberators are all continuing to make their way around to the front. Marines are going to stem through, going to go after a whole bunch of these crew tumors. The liberators continue to siege up. Bane just coming straight forward. This is all on creep, so you have that little bit of a speed boost to get on top of this with. Serral probably wants to wait for 2-2. It's not that far from finishing. His mutas are going to come back as well. There's one tank in the back. Well, not if the mutas take a fight against Marines before then. 3 mutas go down in this little trade. Serral will still have creep on this low ground. Again, has never stabilized on a 4th base. It's a weirdly low economy situation where Serral's on 60 drones and Q's on 46 SCVs. He's going to have to engage, obviously, down these 2 ramps, trying to utilize a little bit of the creep spread here to get that speed advantage going in as well. Serral misses a transfusion on a queen there, and it does drop. The next queen looking okay for the moment. The mutas come back in from the top side. They're going to try and fight as he doesn't come down the right side ramp, which I feel like is a mistake, but he is swarming through. Is it enough from Serral? The numbers definitely start to look in his favor. The mutas, left alone by Marines, are going to be able to clean up the Liberators. And Serral will just pull back again. No need to keep fighting if he doesn't have banelings ready, if he can just wait a few moments and get reinforcements. He cleaned up a lot of the scary stuff here. He cleaned up a lot of the splash damage, the Liberators, the siege units that are really going to have powerful moments. Now the upgrades will even out once again as the Terran player resumes his +2 armor upgrade, gets that completed. But the mutas are back across the map, but there's enough Marines still just to turn around onto those, and the mutas still have to respect them. But it is at least making Kure think about staying back at home a little bit. It's definitely slowing Kure down to some extent. There's more Ling Bane. One just around the right, a few more Banelings morphing in. Here come these Lings, going to come wrap around the mutas. On top of these medevacs, if they found the ones that lifted units in, could have been fantastic. Goldenor is a very defendable forward base here, by the way. This is a very choked up area. You can probably come in from this right side pretty decently, I suppose, but like attacking straight in without knocking down these rocks is going to be a difficult thing to do. So it's going to be tough, I think, for Serral to maybe end the game immediately, but his upgrade, well, not his upgrade lead anymore, but his supply lead is very convincing. So we'll see if he can turn that supply lead into something here, or if he really is just going to hit a little bit of a brick wall in terms of not being able to bust through. And maybe this game then has to go on. Of course, Serral finally on 4 bases, and he's finally getting a 5th hatch up as well. It might not be bad for him if he slowed down, made a round of drones, and then continued his unit production, because he's still only sat on 60. That said, I guess with 13 minutes in the game, the main base is mine now. He probably has enough drones to saturate this 4th anyways for the moment. Yeah, he really does. So actually, 60 for the moment is just fine. As he gets the 5th up, maybe then we'll see something come into play again. The mutas do realize they've got a chance to cancel an upgrade into the +3 attack upgrade. Obviously, Serral needs to get to Hive Tech to be able to get further upgrades now, so by denying one, it's just going to keep things level for a little bit longer in this game. It's typical for the Zerg to fall behind on 3-3, especially if you play Ling Bane Muta. It's very difficult to afford an Infestation Bay and a Hive, and then finally those upgrades will take a long time to come in. So yeah, being able to slow your opponent down on the way there is going to be of a major aid as our Mutalisks come back over. The Marines come around. Just going to push the mutas back over to the right-hand side. Extra mutas all coming in. Ling Bane coming back to the center. A lot of missile turrets coming up. Obviously, mutas are maybe one of the scariest parts of this game right now from Q's point of view, so trying to deal with those is not a bad idea, as the mutas take the entire mutal flock there, basically takes splash damage. One more Widowmine they will find, so again, just chipping away. Ling Bane coming up that left-hand side, so did start to add a few additional workers as this 5th base went up, so getting himself a bit better saturated. He was going to try and take the 4th via the main base relocating, so it's not the most ideal of scenarios, but at least it's a fresh mineral line for those guys to mine from. No tank or splash on the left-hand side, so the Ling's just going to run up here. Serral is going to catch Kure definitely unawares. Now the Widow Mines get forward, but the Banelings blow up those Widow Mines very quickly. And Zarek is going to have to pull back a little bit. There's one of those moments where that Baneling HP change is going to be quite significant, because in moments like this, if you try to run forward, if every single one of these Banes, how many Banes have we got? 29? That's essentially 150 HP missing from this army, right? So that's 150 less damage you have to do as the Marines again to survive those Banes running forward. It's so much more doable than it used to be. Just sort of stand and fight against them. That's definitely one of the interesting things you'll see from players, is they kind of recalibrate their game senses, I suppose, right? To this kind of new HP number where it's like, okay, this is the amount of Banes where I can pick that fight. Oh, this is the amount of Banes where I do have to back away. I imagine a lot of players may err on the side of caution, especially a player like Serral. likely to err on the side of caution until, like I say, the calibrations have been made, and he knows kind of a little bit better just how many Banes you can attack in with, just being able to eye up those numbers again much more easily. It's, again, very fascinating part of this new patch, because a lot of things have changed where those trades will be very different to before, but in very subtle ways. Like I say, these are not things that are easily kind of figured out. It's not like you can just be like, oh yeah, I have 24 Banelings against 17 Marines in this position, boom, that's a fight. You know? It's much more of a feel than anything else, and feels are hard, and they take a long time to set up, so definitely interesting as Serral sits back. And he is going to take a little bit of a dive forward here. Kira comes in from the other side as well. Serral tries to get the few Banelings on top of that. Now he's going to have to go running away. He does have to creep right up the map. Ever since the earlier stages, he's been pushing that creep out since he's regained map control. He dives in with the mutas. He realizes, well, there is just production to be camped here, as he can go and shut down reinforcements, shut down production structures. These are things you don't really deal with well. Eventually, his mutas will probably pull back home to help with the fight also. As Kira and Serral both supply blocked, although Serral was supply blocked because he was at 201 supply. Banelings just roll in on creep, and the Widow Mine shot goes off on the Overseer. Finally, the Banelings get dealt with, but Serral gets a good jump there. This is an upgrade lead from Kira. That's going to be advantageous to him. All of these Marines back at home, though, dealing with the mutas that just obviously fly away. They will not allow those Marines to really be valuable in that fight. As our lane Bane chases forward, the Marauders in the front trying to tank as many shots as they can, trying to take the brunt of this damage away from the Marines. Serral has money in the bank. Kira is absolutely broke. And that's the big difference, that Serral is going to comfortably keep on reproducing, keep on rebuilding, keep on getting set back up here. Where, again, I just don't think Kira can really afford to do that. That's a nice Widowmine shot for 14 lings. But this base is the main base, right? So it's not a planetary fortress. It doesn't protect itself. Kira tries to push up the ramp on the right-hand side, but the Banelings there say, nuh-uh, absolutely not, no way. So that gets pushed back. The mutas are in the main base, still cleaning up, taking down these additional structures. Hatchery goes down. The few Banes are going to continue to roll over and roll around. The Marines load back up into the medevac. So now the rest of this Ling Bane just jumping back onto Marauders and everything. Our Lings are going to continue to go big wherever possible, as our Lings now knocking down another set of depots. Fire units still coming through, and that's going to be GG. Serral is going to take it and tie this series ones apiece. In the bottom right corner, our red Terran player is going to be Kua. Right in the top left, on blue Zerg from Basilisk, it's Serral. Wardy, how many series per day? What they said was it will last 4 hours. So today will be 4 hours long, so 3 hours more from now. And then they will resume on Monday. If it lasts more than that, I have no idea what the plan is. They just keep expanding day by day. You get an extra day, you get an extra day, you get an extra day. Yeah, but they said 4 hours a day. I imagine that means maybe 4.5, depending on how far through a series we are, for example. I don't think they would stop a series halfway through. But if it's 10 minutes before 4 hours and they're starting a new series, do they start or not? I have no idea. So yeah, I don't really know. But do what I can is hatch gas and pool all coming up. Barracks coming in. This opening on site Delta looks fairly regular for the first few moments, so definitely looking pretty okay to begin with. There's Reaper on the way out from Q. He does build it on the low ground, this barracks, but it doesn't seem as though, single racks. It's a Reaper, not even a Marine, so you don't even go Overlord hunting. Just means the Reaper will come across the map slightly sooner. I'm not sure how much of an impact this will really have. I guess we'll see if something else happens here as we get going. We do have the factory building up just on that wall off. So again, that's steady. I'm getting a couple queens and a few lings all coming out. There's one Reaper of Cure heading out to the upper left-hand side. Go off on a little bit of a journey, so away we go. The queens come out. The speed is coming through. Now a factory is already building here from Cure as well on this natural. So again, that was up and running. As the Reaper dances around with a couple of Lings, the Lings come back over, and the Reaper will continue to be chased for just a little bit also. And this is our setup for the moment. This is what we watch throughout these early moments of the TVZ. Getting that double cyclone on the way. As our factory gets busy. So, double cyclones coming out. The Marine going to be popping very soon. And Reaper's still chilling. Move from the top side. Yeah, more of these cyclone openings. Maybe that's why you build it on the low ground. So the cyclones can get on the map that much more quickly. Because the cyclones are pretty slow to begin with. Knocks down a couple of Lings. Nice, nice. I think it's going to be... we actually build 2 Hellions, but then 2 more Cyclones behind it again. There's going to be so many kind of funky... Excuse me, sorry. So many funky builds. I wonder how difficult it is for Zerg to figure out, like, how much you need against these things, right? Because right now you don't know if there's more Cyclones coming, if there's more Hellions coming. Like, it's so difficult to know this is a Zerg player. I mean, the Overlord is in this main base, but that's scouting the main scene in 3rd CC, not seeing what's producing off the front. You know, those things are difficult to figure out. The Lings are going to just miss these next 2 Cyclones. They are going to turn around, though, and everything's going to turn around to deal with the Lings. Now the Lings, do you fight that? Apparently not. Cyclones seem to be too good. Maybe if you already have them in a surround, but actually getting them into a surround might be kind of tough, so... Especially because the Cyclones can move and dodge the surround while still shooting at you, so... And obviously their lock-ons just relocate onto new units immediately now, so... It's actually a bit of a buff for them against Zerglings compared to what they used to do. Beforehand, Zerglings were a great answer to Cyclones because they'd essentially waste the Cyclone lock-ons, and then, you know, you lock onto a Ling, it dies instantly, and boom. Then the lock-on is not being used, then the Cyclone is not, you know, getting the most value out of itself that it should be. Queen's coming up, main nest, all coming through. Units sitting in the center. The Cyclone's still moving up from the right-hand side. All goes down. Cyclone's locking on. Just going to be seeing the Queens getting knocked away at. The Cyclones come back around in the center. One Zergling taking damage, and a couple of creep tumors are now being picked off, so... Creep will begin to go down. There's a lot of creep tumors being picked off immediately. One more tumor on this high ground. We gather in the center. Overlord still chilling. We have our units getting back to the middle. Combat shield on the way up from Cure with the +1 coming as well. So just getting this underway. As the Queens continue out the front. A little bit of creep going to be going down. We've just seen a Hellion Cyclone pushing forward. These Queens going to be taking some shots as the Cyclones lock in once again. Jumping back to this right-hand side, this hatchery will get taken down, so just going to knock this away. More of this creep in the center still getting picked away. Akira keeps the pressure up. The more he stays in the middle of the map, the more he keeps this pressure up, the better off he's generally going to be. As you can see, the Zerglings of Serral working back to that bottom left side, that 4th base coming up there. Marines and Cyclones coming through, we press forward, and again, we starting on top of this hatchery. Well, Serral now is going to make a play. He's going to try and wrap around these units, stop them from getting away. This is a surround. The Banes are waddling forward. Can they catch these Cyclones and help clean them up? Don't even think we need the Banelings, really. The Lings are getting most of the work done. A grenade to help a little bit. Everything will finally go down. Serral cleans out. Resources lost pretty even across the board. The Cyclones are cheaper, but they're not that cheap. And so Serral keeps the base alive and finally cleans up this pressure that has been ongoing this entire time. Uh-oh. Lings jump on the 3rd. This ain't good. You're taking a lot of damage. I mean, that's a lot of SCVs to make up for at this stage of the game. 9 workers. And this drop had to pull back too. So it's 9 workers and you're losing potential map control. Infestation pick coming up in the main base. Still having our Marines and Medivacs making their way up to the top. And actually stim onto the creep spread here for a couple of moments. Marines will load up those Medivacs. We come out over the sides and just seeing our Marines gonna unload. Over towards this third base. And melee upgrade coming through, the +2 attack, and the attack armor upgrade coming in as well. Marines will stim up. We go for a couple of banelings there, and we pick off a couple of those nice and easy. Now we lift back in toward the main base. Lings are here, and these Marines are going to have pretty quick competition. Now, don't get me wrong, they're obviously trading pretty decently. It's funny because there's not even an armor upgrade on those Marines, and they dropped straight into Ling Fire. I thought they might have done worse, but Medivac healing is pretty powerful, of course. And so we clean that up. The most important thing, though, is that Serral was on top of it quickly. There's Cure from this point. Still 5 racks, double factory. Going to go that Drilling Claws upgrade route, so we'll get that Drilling Claws brought into play. Widow Mine goes off, couple Lings going in. We knock this Widow Mine out and still seeing Serral. More units around the right side. Supplies were getting kind of close for a few moments. Serral has peeled back ahead since that first moment I was kind of looking at that, so seeing what happens as this Medivac from the top going to peel back around, and Serral once again is immediately setting up for another counterattack. He almost always has a counterattack ready. He almost always has something planned. That's Marines and Mines. Make their way through the center. Considering how much, control Kua had early with the army composition he was playing, he has become so... Serral has become so kind of heavily creeped. It's kind of amazing how much creep he's pushed out, considering how slow the creep was to start the game. This Widow Mine's slowly being dealt with, although one Medivac will get to linger off over to the left side, so might be able to come back. Ling Bane gonna make a dive. The Marines getting busted from the other side. That Widow Mine will grab just a single Bane. These mines, honestly, I don't even think that's a bad trade for Serral, considering he's not really paying that much attention to it. He is gonna end up canceling the 4th base. These couple last Banelings will go for just 4 SCVs. And he took a lot of Widow Mines out with this, so 4 SCVs going in. We have ourselves the Widow Mines, again, getting cleaned up. Looks like Serral dealt with them a little bit more easily this time. He did take a pretty big beating to that first Widow Mine drop. Something that did go well for Cure, who pushed back once again now. Starting up his +3 attack upgrade. Serral already on Hive. Can go 3-3 himself when he finds the money to. He does initially prioritize off the Hive, the Vipers, and the Adrenal Glands. So just making choices to, like I say again, prioritize what he feels like is going to be the best case scenario for him. No fault to be had on that. Medivac's bio just coming up to the top. A lot of Ling Bane going down to the bottom left side is going to go for this bit of a push and try and deal with this little drop in. Serral wants to defend this base versus Widow Mines. Not going to do much at all. There's one Widow Mine left. This last one got some good kills, 17 of them. Well, if you'd split it across the 3 mines, it was probably 20 kills across 3, so that's a little bit less painful to think about as Serral. Just a shame it was the final mine shot that found so much. Let's dive in. The Widow Mine's getting picked off, and we do have still Medivacs just coming in. And the bottom left bio sets up. As a little push into the bottom left gets going. A couple of bits of Ling and Bane start to move through there. The Bane's looking to make a bit of a dive towards those Marines. Up on the top. Oh my goodness. Parasitic bombs are going to get rid of so many Medivacs. It's still active. All but one Medivac goes down. Cure does find the bottom left base, but huge cost for him on the top of the map. Now we come through. A couple Overlords getting picked away at. We do have ourselves Serral definitely, I think, taking control as he cleans up on the top side in a big way. He's going to come over. Widow Mine just lands on a few Lings. These Marines are low going into this fight, which is obviously going to give you a bit more hope. These Banelings want those Widow Mines. They get all of them. Cure. Oh, he just loses all of those. It's going to be, again, expensive. It's rough now because now you don't have your splash damage to help you out either, right? So every time these Widow Mines get reset, we've killed 25 in the game. It just resets what you can do in terms of pushing and even defending, right? These mines defensively can do great for you. Serral once again talking about defending. He's going to force Kua to play some amount of defense over here. As Kua looks to push the bottom left side, but his natural is going to get broken into. It's mostly Banelings. There's not that many SCVs to kill. The Marauders are doing a good job. Actually kill the structure that's at the front. The Lings will get one final kill. That will be it. Well, maybe it wasn't the most successful, but still getting things caught up and mixed up for a little while. Three melee upgrades coming up. See now Burrow coming through, having a bit of bio out down the bottom. Baines is going to go pushing by. We're going to see a couple of Widow Mines blasting for the moment. We do have parasitic bombs going off once again. Eileen Bane really going after all of those Marines. They do lift up the last couple of them, pushing the top right. Kua trying to take Serral's attention in two different directions, but splitting Serral's attention, well, that's trying to split a rock in half. It's pretty darn tough. You gotta give it a real good whacking, and so far he's just not really doing that. Neither of these attacks on either side have really been that scary. And Serral pushes both back with pretty good confidence, right? Really does get there, pushes these back very quickly. Look down in the back of this main base continues up as Lane Bane runs in from the bottom. I'll wrap around onto those Marines. This medevac loads up and backs away. The line just goes. The Ling's going to get hit. That's at least some of the Widow Mines doing kind of what you want Widow Mines to do, which is just grab a couple units here and there around the map and just generally make your opponent's life difficult if they're not paying attention fully everywhere, which is obviously difficult to do too. Serral himself dives a bit harder in the bottom side now. Parasitic bombs again on these medevacs. How many medevacs have we killed at this point? 11, 12. It's getting up there, and there's still 8 medevacs on the field. Kua, he's been good at rebuilding them, but every time you're rebuilding medevacs, it's not allowing you to build up units like Liberators and just better kind of tech, essentially. Widow Mines coming in. The Banes are going to come through, crashing into a few Marines. So a few units of Kua still moving around the bottom. Our Bioforce is coming around. Lingbane Hydra coming up. Widow Mines will fire on a whole bunch of stuff. The Banelings continue through. One Hydra gets picked off. Our Banelings will continue to come on in. Our Bioforce is going to turn back around, pushing those units back as our Zerglings go down the right-hand side, slip onto this 3 o'clock base. Spy units still coming across. Queen's going to be in trouble pretty much immediately. These Lings are getting rid of so many SCVs. So that's a lot of SCVs going down. 8, in fact. Now our Queen's getting picked off. We continue to dart forwards as we get rid of a few of those drones. This hatchery is going to fall. And these Banelings are still pushing across as well. I mean, this game is getting exciting as Kua has withstood a lot of Serral's pressure, and now a bit of a better push himself. Another Parasitic Bomb or 2 going off as the last few Marines left over will go down. Serral is going to have a couple of issues with Widow Mines here, it seems like, but he is starting to clean up. Both players' supplies have dropped to the 140 to 150 zone. We are seeing an absolute bonkers situation here as more Ling Bane still comes over. A few more Marines getting picked off. Lurkers on the way, Hydra's on the way, plus 2 missiles also being produced. Well, game settles again. Like I say, Kua just had a little bit of a spurt of love right there where Serral's supply dropped quite quickly for a little bit. Obviously now restabilizing, both players are going to aim towards being maxed out again. Kua has really been stuck on a limited amount of bases all this time. This base is the freshest of all. This really just got going now. It was kind of getting to the point where it was essential for it to. Kua's tech is not really that great. It's still just biomine. And units like Lurkers are going to be so good in these scenarios. Unfortunately for Serral, this trap he set up is not going to work out. He's going to reburrow now. He's going to hold position them, so he wants to wait until he gets a good catch, a good round of units that he can kind of jump on with those lurkers. The idea is good because he's obviously not shown lurkers yet, so Kira's not really being wary of them. So it's a good idea to start, but at some point he might, okay, now the lurkers are shown. Yeah, maybe these lurkers set up a trap for the units retreating. That would be really nice. Uh-oh, Kira. Right now he's walking right over to it as Serral. Oh my goodness, they're all going to be lined up as well, aren't they? Oh my god, is Kira going to go up this ramp? If he moves up this ramp, guys, this could be very, very bad. If Serral wants to, he could force something else. Okay, here we go. Serral's going to see it right now. These lurkers are going to attack. It's going to be deadly. Kira doesn't even try to scan. He just runs. Yep, and now, obviously, Serral's going to jump on the rest of these units. If he has a Viper, these medevacs are getting low. Parasitic bombs are going to be in killing distance of every single one of those. There is the Viper coming across. A couple of Hydras coming in too. Viper doing what it can. The first lurker's now jumping onto this planetary fortress. Serral has been losing out in the bottom left. Parasite bomb split away from immediately. So the splash damage doesn't add up off of that, but it's still one medevac killed. Pains are going to come through. A couple of these Widow Mines don't last very long. The planetary doesn't last very long. And this base gets shut down pretty much straight away there as medevac's still up in the skies, healing up a little bit. We have ourselves our lurkers pulling back, and now the Bioforce still coming through. Infest is coming in, Lings are building. And still just plenty of lurkers around the right side. A lurker firing up a few shots, the Marauder's taking damage. This command center has to just pull back over here. Because it looks like Kira's trying to get another base established, but now that's just not going to happen. Infestors and lurkers building from Serral. Really getting into that later game composition, but to be fair, so is Kira. He's getting his goats out now, and that was something that was truly missing when lurkers were first on the map. We really got caught in like a heavy mid-game between these two. Both players were, very reluctant to tech up because it was a very active, very trade-heavy game. Teching up was not easy. They both were losing bases, they were losing economy. Neither had the freedom to just kind of tech up easily. There's our turret. About to finish up in the front. We do have ourselves the few drones. Just going to get over to that left-hand side. And more Lings gathering back on the right as a couple of queens just pulling back. Ling Bane still coming through as well. All of these gases being added on. I mean, still feel like Kira's issue is that he's stuck on a much lower set of bases than what Serral is. Serral has had the bottom left for a long time, and now he's starting to take, top right bases as the bottom left keeps getting denied. Whereas Kira is just about fighting to have this fifth base. He's not had other bases than that, as at least the Ghosts are finding some good value here. The Lings are going to try and threaten them backward, but obviously still the Ghosts able to get some good shots off initially. I wonder if Serral just gives up on the left side. It's actually, he dives the right. Big fight coming in. Has that Infestor just burrowed that he hasn't seemingly needed to use just yet? He hasn't used to just straight up fight this. Kira's supply is gone. And especially as you clean up these ghosts, this is a lot of high value supply that's going to drop as well. And Kira doesn't have the money to rebuild off this. This base mining out. This base never allowed to mine properly. These are the things that Serral's been playing for a long time and working himself into this position. And now he's starting to reap the benefits of it. It's finally at the point where Kira is going to struggle because of what Serral has done up to this stage of the game. Serral doesn't need to do much else. GG is called, and Serral is going to take a 2-1 lead in this best of 5. In the top right-hand side, this best of 5 resumes. Thank you for, I was obviously a little bit quiet during the break. Just getting my food in me. A blue Terran in the top right, it is Kira. In the bottom left, our red Zerg from Basilisk, it is Serral. Game 4 of what's been a great best of 5 so far. It's been really awesome up until this point. There's the map then. Let's have a little bit of a look around it, because like I say, I've not really casted this map yet, so let's have a look to see what's going on. It's obviously interesting because the natural points out onto the map, and then you've got this down the low ground. That is a massive debris into a mineral wall to get on top of this base, which also has mineral patches blocking the expansion. Jeez. Okay. So if you put some effort in, you can have a massive wall of defense on your third, but you do have to mine the minerals. I think most players will probably do that. Unless you want to take a super fast third as a Zerg, in which case you're probably going to go out there anyways, which probably isn't that bad of a deal as a Zerg. It's going to be interesting to see how this left side works. So obviously once you mine this out and kill this off, you actually open up this area of the map, including a nearby watchtower, another base. This is a map that has potential to really kind of change and evolve over time, essentially, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens as our Ovi heads to the upper right side. A little bit of a journey across, looking to see what's up for the first few minutes. Heading over to the natural. SCV just going to finish up on there as well. And our Overlord continues to make its way out across towards the upper right-hand side. A couple Lings are going to come across as well, so they're also going to make just a little bit of a move. Trying to see a bit of what's going on for these early stages. Factory is about to finish up, and we do have the CC down here is actually building right next to the minerals, so this is something Terrans can do on bases that are set up like this. The idea is that not just, you know, the CC is close to the position it needs to be in, but the CC can act as a way to mine these minerals faster, because this is a very normal trip length for an SCV, right? So it's a quick, efficient way to do that. Serral did mine the minerals on his side, and he will drop his hatchery down, and so we are getting set up. This could become like a very, I mean, basically this is 3 bases where... Oh my god, that's so much debris. Are they all linked? No? Holy crap. That's ridiculous. This is basically like a 3-base turtle map. Like, it is very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to break through onto the third. I wonder what Serral does with this. Like, is this a map where you maybe play mutas on? This outward side of the base is a little bit exposed, perhaps, so maybe mutas could be very good for that reason. That's definitely kind of what I'm feeling, is... have our queen just coming out to the side. The circling speed will start, and a couple of cyclones will be on the way up. So the first cyclone's getting built in there. 3 racks behind it from Curious. Obviously, he's gone fast 3 CC, so a few cyclones for safety, and then just going to go masses of bio from this point onwards. Stim coming up. Our Hellion's on the way out. Couple cyclones still heading down to the bottom left, so away they go on a bit of a journey down to see a little bit more of what's going on. Zergling speed and a couple of queens are coming out. Lings and overlords producing as well. So Army of Cure just going to keep pushing in towards that left-hand side. Our queens all gathering together, and just going to see a couple of creep demons going to get pushed forwards. The cyclones locking on to well, go after initially one queen. One queen goes down immediately. Now a couple of these Crypt Humans continue to get picked away at. Doing a pretty good job on that one as our queens come over, and Cyclones are still trading now. Going to get rid of 1 queen, 2 queen. Now looking for 3, looking for 4. Couple final kills there. The last still coming up. The extract is coming through. Stim pack and all the rest of it coming in as our factory just moves over with the reactor over to the side. These units of Cure back to the top. Lair about to finish. Baneling Nest on the way. +1 attack upgrade on the Engineering Bay, and still got our Hellions and Cyclones making their way across right now as we come straight through. Cyclone lock-ons good for a couple moments. Hatchery will go down on the left-hand side as well. The rest of this Hellion Cyclone force back into the center. Can't get over how much debris is here, how much you have to kill to open up this place. This is definitely a bit of a wilder map, to say the least. Definitely has a, a bit of an intriguing edge to it, as We do have our Medivacs is going to boost out, so here comes the first bit of pressure outside of the Cyclone poking from Cure. Serral already just going out to his own 4th base. Spire is on the way. He is going to play Mutas. I explained it earlier why I think Mutas might be good on this map, and we'll see Serral trying to utilize that. So, if he tries to utilize that, he will still have to defend against some of these first pushes, especially right now. This first push is scary. Cyclones and a bunch of Stim Marines before you have anything like Bane Speed or so to help you kind of clean this out. It's definitely going to be a little bit tough as our Hatchery takes a few shots of damage. Alinga's trying to come back around the other side. The Queens will get forward again. First Cyclone is going to be dead or in the water. That goes down immediately. Well, Cyclone's here, and they continue to put damage in. A couple more Creep Tumors getting blasted down. Those 11 meters building up. The Baneling speed is almost finishing. The units are just going to jump forwards. And Queens are there to push this even further back, and still got that Baneling speed. Finishing in a few moments' time. +1 flyer attack coming in right now. We do have our Cyclones locking on. The Overlords being killed. One more Medivac coming over as our Hellions morph into Hellbats. Mutalisks up to the top side. Just have more shots, a little bit more damage being dealt. Units still rallying from Cure. I mean, he is just sending it. Obviously, scary moment if you've got the Mutas across the map as Serral. You do not have as much defensively back at home. So this is going to be an important moment or so as we dive in with these Marines. In we go. Lings, Bane's going to come through. The Cyclone's getting chased away. The Banelings will go rolling through. Obviously, with Baneling speed, life is a bit easier. The Mutas get pushed back pretty quickly, but to be fair, so did Q's attack, and looks as though Serral will get things to settle. Takes yet another base. Jesus, this map is massive. But this map is just absolutely huge, no? Obviously, you've got 3 bases. Like, I think this is going to be the map in the map pool where you see a lot of, like, 20, 30, 40-minute games on. The longer the game, almost the more likely it is to see. Obviously, maybe not quite, because super long games aren't super likely in the first place, but it's definitely going to be the map that promotes very long games, because it's very difficult to kill. I mean, even right now, Serral's on 4 bases, and the only attack path into his base is this. That and some drop play. So there's very limited ways to attack, which means your bases are very safe, and then the size of the map just adds to that too. It's not like it's a smaller map, so reinforcements arrive quickly or anything. It's going to be a very difficult map to break your opponents on. Which, when Serral and Kuro play, means that this could be quite the deal we're going to have right here as well. The Marines coming around, picking away at a few more of those Mutalisks. So a few more Mutas going down there, a little bit more damage dealt. Command Center finishes up and will begin to morph into a planetary fortress. Again, Carapace upgrade about to finish, +2 flyer attack coming in as our Mutas fly over some Marines. Not going to have a good time, so a bunch of the Mutalisks getting cleaned out. Now going to turn and pick away at the Medivac slightly. The Overseer is just going to get pushed back a little bit further as well. Some Marine already going to try to put a bit more damage on the Mutas once more. Marines still coming through the center, wouldn't mind. And Medivac's coming across. Extra Marines and Mines still making their way across here. So again, a lot of units coming out to the bottom left side. Big push on the way. +2 armor upgrade about to finish on that Engineering Bay. And even more units coming out down to the south. Marine, Mine, Medivac getting settled as our Mutalisks. Just going to fly by. That Widowmine does not go off. Continue with everything of Cure over to this far left-hand side. And again, a few more Mutas making their ways around the map as well. Thor's there and still going to slash through a few Mutalisks pretty much immediately. So that's going to be a quick little bit of killing. Mines burrow, a Queen getting picked away at, another Queen going down as well. These Widow Mines are still all burrowed up, and Marine's going to start stimming forward. Oh, Kira's attacking onto this location. He's got a 2-2 to 1-1 upgrade lead. It's a fairly open space for Serral to fight, but he doesn't have a lot of creep in front of the base. That might be his biggest issue. That Widow Mine does not go off as the Balins crash through. Kira, from the moment, initially had the supply lead. A lot of Serral's supply now is going to come in the form of production, which means that he's not immediately ready to keep fighting. Looks like Serral is slowly cleaning out this side of the map. Lings are slowly picking their way through the depots. So all of the HP on these debris is shared, I see. So there's like 2 different chunks of debris that all shares the same HP. That makes some more sense. Okay. And you have another fight from Serral just coming through there and starting to clean out. As we just have the Lingbane Muta. We'll just kind of dive forward. That Widow Mine, more friendly fire than anything. That Widow Mine, friendly fire for sure. That Zergling was a champion. He led that Widow Mine right into the Terran army, splashing up the Terran units and getting so much value. I mean, that was fantastic. As we now see Marines and Marauders make their way down to the south. So away they go. Couple creep tumors going down. Our army rotates back around once again. Lings Mutas coming up. The Hive is on the way. This army of Pure still coming across and getting settled. Goes all the way back to the right side. Couple of Lings will get knocked down. And we have got just so much of the map as Serral. I mean, this is why I think the issue is for Cure. If he didn't win on that push, now you've got to deal with Serral with so many bases, such a large map. Creep spread is maybe not brilliant, but it will start getting there if Cure doesn't keep on top of it. Because he knows Serral's going to keep pushing that out, and of course on a large map there's going to soon be creep in so many places. It's going to be difficult to get control of it back under wraps, so things are only getting tougher for Cure, I feel like, which is, again, a bit of an unfortunate situation. Ling on the Watchtower, going to get picked off as the meters fly in. Couple of Widow Mines die immediately. We try and turn around for one more at the end there, as the Bioforce still comes across, still pushing through to the other side, still getting going. On the top left, our Mutiling Banes get set up, a few Marines come through. Mine already burrowed up, our Bioforce starting to press in. What's the Ling Bane going to do here? Not quite sure. It seems as now we're going to turn the fight into this Terran army. A few Banes crashing in, Marines taking damage. The Marauders are coming through too. And this force of Serral is going to come out. There's that hatchery dead. Now Serral's going to be forced to fight here if he loses a hatchery, I think. Again, he loses so much. He's got so much in production. That's just not here yet. The power of the 3-3 upgrades allowing the Terran to trade well. Even on this creep spread, these Banes trying to find their way through to the Marines, but once again they pull back and stay out of the way. Army still moving to the south side as you have Serral moving all the way down the bottom as well. A few Marines coming in, going to pick off a creep tumor. The rest of this Ling Bane getting ready to go. The extra Banelings are about to finish up. And all of these meters go flying across over to the right-hand side. Marines getting picked away at. Widow Mines getting picked away at. Meters just get chased out to the bottom. The Widow Mine shot missile turret's doing pretty nicely. I mean, the Mutas are not able to find much of an opening in Serral. Don't lose this forward base. This is a gold, so that's one you want to make sure you stop as a Terran player. Don't give the Zerg that extra eco for no reason. He is looking to set the base up himself, though, and Serral hasn't exactly had much to say on the other side of the map. He's not really had much to stop Pure with, as it does seem as though those Mutas continue to get bullied around, and they will get pushed back over the bottom side. Ling's still running forward here. Bio units getting surrounded. Banelings wanting to run forward too, as that Muta is still in production, plus 3 melee upgrades continuing in. And Bioforce going all the way down to the bottom as our Mutas are going to come across as well. Banelings crashing for a few more Marauders. This army of Cure back around the bottom side. We still have 3-3 melee upgrades coming up as Lings and Banes and all the goodness continues into play. So all of that coming out. Scan up, and this Bioforce is going to go after this hatchery one more time. It is going to fall. Cure is back up through the center. Liberator is about to finish up. The extra Marines are pouring out. The Planetary Fortress is on the way. He's just going to go diving for one missile turret immediately. Again, a couple of bio units coming across. He's going to go back in, and they are going to look for a little bit extra Mutalisks into the main base. This Tech Lab going down, and now continuing on to the rest of these racks. On the bottom side, our Banes, well, they're just going to start moving through. Those Banes are going to go chasing. Marines are on the run. This is where Serral really needs to find a hold, because he's starting to be hitting the pressure points. Starting to lose some of these bases, which without I don't think this base is maybe super important, but if you lose this, access into this base becomes more easy, and then you start losing real production structures, and again, the game can begin to slip out of control in so many different ways from there. So Serral really starts to feel like each and every base is becoming more and more important now as our bio will go after a queen, really looking to try and grab it. Natural go down. In the bottom right, Serral is sneaking a base up as well, and he gets a few drones there, which, as long as they stay, and I think he's rallied them to do just that, that's a sneaky little base that Serral might just get away with. That is a nice little addition, so yeah, sneaky, because it's a side of the map. Oh, Kira's going to find it because he's about to try and expand here himself. It's a great idea from Serral because any resources you take off this location is generally good. But yeah, Kira's going to go straight down and deny this now, and Serral's got to kind of do something to stop that. Okay, I don't think Kira actually realized just yet as Marines come forward. A bit of clear spread going to get knocked down. I mean, Serral has nowhere else to really send those drones to. Of course, we'd rather get another base up than lose them, but sometimes, well, things are just going to be tough. I mean, Kira has money for days as well, as Serral is obviously still very much so stuck on Ling Bay Muta. Very much so stuck on Ling Bay Muta, as in the bottom right, the few Marines will force the drones away, Serral will try and expand elsewhere. Problem is, how do you win a game of Ling Bay Muta? At some point, I feel like Serral needs to start sneaking in at least a couple of spellcasters, because without some spellcasters, this generally just doesn't end well for you. Kira is pushing towards the upper left-hand side. Banelin's going to come running through. The Liberator's firing up. And Marauder's shooting. I mean, they're just tanking. These Banelings are taking so many shots as they run forward. Serral is just going to type GG. He's losing so much in this trade. He's just not got control of this game in the slightest. And Kira is going to take us to a 2-2. Wow, I can't believe the attitude of our moderators. Maybe it's not me making the ads. Maybe it's slowly running the ads all this time. Top left, our Red Terran player. This is Kira, as we're tied up 2-2 in this best of 5 series. Bottom right, blue Zerg from Basilisk. It is Serral. It's going to 15-14. It would seem. A bit of a build order choice that's taken the world by storm as of late. Hatchery goes down. The gas will set up. Oh, my gas will cancel. Just the hatch going down. I mean, that makes sense because you're probably going to get the pool first. Just one more drone, and then you get the pool. The Overlord. You start to make some progress on the numbers side of things. Overlord is Serral, heading up to the top left side. Rax is going to be on the way. CC is building up. And again, a few drones in the spawning pool all coming out as our hatchery gets it going. It's getting things underway for the moment. We'll be on the journey up the top. The barracks is about halfway done. Our refineries are coming through. The extractor coming up. Cool. All of that coming in for the early few minutes as our drone continues to build. This drone of Serral just down to the low ground. And again, a couple of queens continuing out. Still got our barracks coming out. Overlord of Serral just pokes in and does see that hatchery, that command center, sorry, on the natural. So getting that scout is obviously a big deal. Just sees the timing of this, roughly knows what the idea and the plan is from the opponent. As you start orbital 1 and orbital 2, that command center first. Again, known about from Serral, so he just knows there's maybe not as much aggression coming from his opponent in the super early stages. He roughly knows what other timings can come from that as well. You know, this is just, again, key critical information that you can really morph into so much more from here on out. And can you imagine every best of 5 is like this? This is going to be a very long best of 9 of best of 5s. They might have to add a third day that this gets played on, actually. I'm glad I'm not the admin team. I'm glad I'm just kind of rolling with it and seeing what happens, you know. I'm in no rush. We just let the day play out. We'll just, you know, let things go down. I'm okay with this. As our Overlord gets set, and we only have we do have on the left-hand side this Overlord coming past the watchtower and making its way up the far left-hand side. A couple of Cyclones building from Kira, another factory on the way out. A tech lab coming through. So he is getting himself into Mech for this game number 5. Final game of the series, we're going to see Mech. Serral playing 2-based lair with Roach Roaring. Alrighty. I am intrigued. I always forgot about hard lead on the mini-map. There's like creep on this area here, so it looks like this part of the map is creeped on the mini-map, and it always catches me off guard. It almost always makes me feel like I should be looking over there for some reason. I'm like, oh my god, there's creep here. It's just the decoration of the map, and the fact it's on the mini-map just makes me... It just grabs my attention more than it really should. I found it hard to shake this during the Team Liquid Map Contest tournament when this map was around then as well. Barracks kills back as Overlord hunting did not go successfully. There's a Cyclone through the center here, and Serral will of course see this, so you know Cyclones are on the move. Of course, what Serral doesn't necessarily know is that it's Mech, although playing Roaches from the start is going to be a good helping hand against Mech. Generally, Roach compositions are going to do much better against Mech than Ling Bane compositions, so I would say that Serral flips the right side of the coin when it comes to the build orders, because he didn't do this with any information, apart from perhaps what he thinks Q might do on this map. So yeah, he didn't do this based off of like, you know, okay, I saw he's going Mech, now let's do this. He picked this before he saw what his opponent was doing before he could confirm it. Cyclones very narrowly getting the first queen. A couple creep teamers do get knocked down, and the Roaches of Serral just peel back a little bit for a few moments then. The rest of these units are getting set up. And we ready ourselves for a bit of an attack forwards. Extra Cyclones are now making their way across, so in they go, heading down to the south. Cyclones coming through. A couple of creep teamers will get picked away at as just have a few bits of this creep already being knocked down. A Roach speed coming out. 5 Roaches in the infestation pit all coming through as well. Sandpack Command Center and 2 more barracks. Continue to build. These Cyclones are moving around. These Roaches are stuck over here. That's not good. Serral's going to lose a chunk of units. What can he get in return? He gets 1 Cyclone. He's going to go try and get a second. He actually has Roaches from the other side. Cyclones need to get a lock on again, and that's obviously when the Roaches can maybe get out of that. Now the Roaches could maybe launch an attack themselves. Whoa, we're not playing Mech. We're playing Bio behind this. So, yeah, we're going to play into the stim. I mean, it really just clicked. He's like, oh my, he actually built barracks. Yeah. I thought it looked like Mech, and it was feeling like Mech, but obviously now switching to Bio off this Cyclone heavy opening. Well, first tanks are set up, and that's going to make it difficult for Serral to do much at the front. Maybe he could pick away at these depots. Well, he could definitely pick away at some depots, but he doesn't know exactly where the tanks are. And he's also quite busy as Cyclones run into his main base. Now, don't get me wrong, they are very low, but they are going to get themselves a few Roaches, a couple of drones. I'm not sure if that was worthwhile. What's the resources lost like? About even? We killed, what, 2 queens, 7 Roaches, and 7 Cyclones went down. That was okay then. Again, the cheapness of these Cyclones is really, you know, allows a lot of these trades that kind of make me... I think in the past, obviously, if it was the old Cyclone, it would have been really bad, but because this Cyclone is so much more affordable now, it's like, actually, that was kind of fine. Like, we've got to kind of see these Cyclones as units that are more able to be thrown away than they used to be, because they're just not as much of an investment anymore. So when they do just go for a couple of units, it's better than you might think, as Serral, by the way, has not got... Well, he has got Evo Chambers, but he's not started with them. He got an infestation pit for a single infester. It just feels like he's setting up to go. I mean, Hive Tech starts is still yet to start any upgrades. I think he is going to send this on a bit of an attack. I wonder if this is going to be well placed, because this is obviously not Mech. This is going to be Bio. And I wonder if this is a timing from Serral based around thinking it's Mech, or based around thinking that if it is a Bio transition, then all of a sudden he's like, well, this might just be the weak point of this transition, right? As our Ravagers do get cancelled up. Serral's going to get jumped on. That Fungal was just shy. That would have killed so many Marines. So Kira is going to continue to get an okayish trade. In the end, Serral will clean up. Let's see what Serral had seen in the main base. Yeah, I don't think he actually really saw much information as to the fact that this wouldn't be a Mech follow-up. So looking down on the way now, though, and he finally starts those missile upgrades. Like I said, to me, they were taking an eternity to get going. He prioritized so many other things before he went to upgrades. As we move in a couple more Ravagers, and it looks like we're still going to try and just poke the edges here and just, you know, deny a deep refinery. Just slow Kira down, whatever you can do for the moment. Kira does get a 4th base started up as creep spread is already leaking out on the map. Coming up towards the halfway marker, definitely pushing itself over to the other side. So this creep spread is starting to look real good. More of this roach rouge. We're going to move around too as we come back up into the center. We're going to take a moment to stop off and pick off these rocks. So we're going to knock these down as well. Again, just open up the map a little bit. Pathways are generally a Zerg's best friend. Open areas are Zerg's best friend. The less choke points you can have on the map, the better off you're going to be. So just going to knock this down. Might be the kind of position a Terran tries to set up tanks on. You know, over here, for example, on a corner or so. Not sure what it would be hitting, maybe just this base here. But either way, now it's much more free for the Zerg to jump on that position if he does need to. Or just to move around between his bases in general. A little bit less going around those rocks and so. Sykes explains, he's on the way up, so our lurkers are getting better. Obviously, Cure going into, well, you can see the game he's playing. 2 more CCs and going in towards the Ghost Academy. I think Cure understands that if necessary here, he will just have to sit back and play slow. I mean, I don't know what sort of a timing he might have in this game. Anything pre-lurker is going to be missed already, so... yeah, I think playing it slow and just kind of setting up onto a lot of command centers, the ghosts and the snipes, all of this is the right kind of direction to be taking it if you want to have the best chance of success. Now, that seems crazy because you're playing against Serral, who is a real king in this late game, but we know Cure can stand his own ground when it comes to these kind of games. We know he is very capable himself. Actually just makes this a very interesting standoff as 2 missile upgrades coming on either side, a couple Queens and Lurkers all coming out. And you have the Drop Lords loading up a chunk of Lurkers already as our Roach and our Ling coming around. That Ling just sitting on the watchtower for a few moments. 2 missile upgrades still coming out. This army maybe wanting to make a play around the left as the Overlord will get knocked down by this group of Vikings, so that will fall as well. Also going to be taken out in this one. Yeah, guys, if you just joined us, this is a best-of-5 series, and the winner of this series stays on. The loser of this series is eliminated and will not get to play again. The winner stays on, and each team has 5 players. When you have no further players to send out, that's when the overall kind of tournament ends, essentially. Serral attacks in. The Vikings were really good because they knocked down the Vipers before they were even able to do too much. The Lurkers are the one thing that there's no immediate response to, but I'm not sure this is going to get any better for Serral because Ghosts are starting to show up. It looks as though this is probably just about going to be done, especially as our tanks show up as well. They push themselves into range, and the Lurkers respect that. They unsiege, pull back a little bit, knowing that they've got to reposition just slightly. Hey, thank you, Henry Set, for the 6-month resub. Welcome back as another lurker gets picked off. Those tanks still firing. A few more ghosts still all on the way through. Liberators are producing. The missile turrets are coming out. Vipers building as well as the army of Serral comes around this left-hand side. Lings, lurkers gonna come through. Fungal growth going down. Our Ravagers and Hydras and lurkers all pushing forwards. A couple of tanks already getting picked away at. Joseph Bars will continue up in the skies. A tank gets picked off. Vikings still in the skies. We do snipe down one ghost. Get 1 lurker, 2 lurkers. And Serral is forcing the base to lift off, but I feel like this has all been so expensive. Resources lost, favorable for the Terran already by a significant margin. Serral is going to have at some point catching up to do in that economy versus efficiency game. Far left-hand side, a group of lurkers jump back into the Drop Lord, so back in they go, and they heal themselves back over to the far left-hand side, so we take a couple moments there. Seeing that adrenal gland still coming up, the Baneling speed is coming up too. Just waiting a few moments as we have ourselves and a few different units getting up and running. We're just going to dive forward, a couple of snipes available straight away as we do get one abduct off. The Liberator goes down. There's going to be a siege tank picked off there as well. The Banelings come through. The Planetary Fortress does get finished. Serral just about nabs that at the very end. Make sure to take it out. There's new CCs building, but even delaying... I mean, a CC is a nice pickoff anyways, but delaying the time where that base can mine is still going to add up a little bit. You're just going to make it as difficult as possible. The first siege, the Bayou and Sang, and a few ghosts are going to wander forward as well. Let's see what can happen as our Hydras try to take another step on in. And Festa is waiting to try and drop the fungal of its lifetime. And there's more snipes finding the lurkers on the left-hand side, so they are not going to do very well for themselves at all. That's just free pickings from QS Supply. We're looking good for him. Serral's going to pick the fight. He gets one Blinding Cloud off. He's got to go through Liberators, which isn't pretty. And he's going to use so much of the Ling Bane getting through the tanks. I think the Bio is just going to stand very strong at the end. Kua is going to have one hell of an army, and this is suddenly looking like a disaster for Team World. Because if they lose Serral, they are going to have to pick up some serious slack along the way. There goes the hatchery. The Bioforce continues through, and I do not know what you do right now as Serral. He's lost his forward base. He's going to have to buy a bit more time, but Kua is looking as though he has got the advantage. He has got the edge. The units that are spawning are being killed, and Serral probably has one fight left in him, but he's going to go into it with 40 army supply less, and he's going to go into it with no Vipers. He's got one lone infestor that doesn't even find the fungal. There it is. It drops on a single medevac. That ain't going to do it. Kua's going to stand pretty darn strong, and if what he doesn't have at the front doesn't work out, well, he's got units behind as well, and they're starting to push on further in. Serral is completely losing control of this position in the center, and Kua looks as though he's got this Game 5 under wraps. Vikings will go, picking away at these Overlords. First Overlord taking some damage, is now going to go down. These units trying to press through. The Ling's trying to wrap around. Baneling's coming across, going to aim for those Marines. Will not be able to get there. The Vikings able to push the Overseer back as well. The Lurker's still in position. One more scan, just going to get the abduct on the Ghost. It will go down, so that's a nice catch. More transfusion on the Overseer. The unit's pulling back. Faster Hydras all coming out. The extra Ghosts on the way. This army of Kua just sitting out in the center. Got a few Lings sneaking up the left-hand side, looking to see where they can go. I'm just going to get into that mineral line, and Siege Tank already going to start firing up onto those SCVs. A few SCVs going to start taking some big damage. 3 workers go down. Ain't enough for Serral. He's got more to do. There's now a little bit of a push on the left side. That's not going to last long. Serral does defend here. One fast is coming out. Lurker's trying to keep the Ghosts at bay, but I think in general, feels as though Kua is going to have himself a bit too much. He is going to step back for the moment, so a few moments to chill out, get things settled down once more. Serral's still trying to, again, do everything he can. Bit of Lurker harassment over here, putting some work in. Actually, this Lurker's staying alive for a lot longer than it really should be. Second Lurker burrows, but it's already in a scan. Well, Serral is at least going to find himself maxed out again, so he's at least going to have an opportunity to show what he can do here. Lings and Lurkers going to go jumping onto this set of rocks, so we're going to pick our way straight through this. The Hydra's in the back going to help massively. That set of rocks will go down. Neuroparasite still coming up. About halfway done. Vipers are still chilling as well. I mean, again, Serral's army is maxed out, but is this army suddenly going to be good enough to fight what Kua has been setting up for? I would say probably not. I would say, absolutely not, honestly. Seems extremely unlikely. I suppose we will see. We'll settle for a few moments, and we have ourselves a Neural Parasite is maybe going to be one of the differences Serral will have on his side, something he can maybe try and use to his advantage as this little bit of Bio comes across. A little bit of creep spread is going to get knocked down. Bio back onto the Watchtower, and Lingbane Hydra will come back through the center once more, still trying to find just somewhere and maybe get active. He's trying to take this top right base, by the way. Resources lost, 10k difference, so Serral does need... Serral does need to make something happen in terms of mining some bases or keeping his opponent off of some bases as well. Single Ling sits on the Watchtower. Fire comes across. Overlord is going to go down. A hatchery is going to get struck down. I mean, I think it was as very hopeful as first nuke. Serral finds it. Serral will move. That doesn't protect the structures that are around here, though. I mean, the hatchery obviously will take damage. The lava is lost. And the infestation pit falls a little lower. Not an issue right now, but maybe something to keep in mind for later. Serral going to try and take this base again. Desperate to mine something that his opponent is meant to have himself. The Vikings land to deny, but the Lurkers are here. they will get rid of those Vikings at the very least. So a little victory from Serral, whose bank is large, and I suppose, he did just build a Great Spire too, so he's got options to go Broodlords if he needs to. I'm just still looking at his army, and it just ain't it right now. It's very Ling heavy. His army composition is just not as good as it could be. Things come in, and Marine gonna get surrounded. The command center flying overhead. 5 SCVs going down is... Oh, that was a big fungal from the Infestor. Serral gets a decent catch. I mean, he's getting a lot of SCVs too, as Ghost on the left side is trying to pick away at that base. This is where Serral needs to obviously utilize the fact that he's got a massive bank. Try and rebuild quickly and maybe use this momentum to go into another fight. Still going to put a lot of attention to that upper right base, knowing he's going to have to play around that position for quite some time here. Resources lost maintains about a 10k difference, actually about 9k now, so actually a bit of a better trade for sure for Serral. That fungal will help a lot with that. There we go, just gonna have ourselves our first siege tank getting picked up. Another one in trouble, the Ghost as well. Our Baneling's gonna go rolling into the bio also. As you have a Ghost on this bottom side, still getting set, going after a couple more drones. Seeing this bio force all setting up together, just having ourselves our Banelings. Continue to get going. Our +3 melee attack coming up, our Banes and Infestors all coming out. Seeing the bio and the Ghosts still set on this right side. Q has no reason to push quickly. If he just waits, this game gets better and better and better for him. As that command center sits on the top right side again, a Ghost coming by is just going to go push away at a couple of these Dropper Lords. This Ghost will fall. As we have a bigger fight breaking out. Ling Bane's going to jump in the upper right. Hydra's getting going as well. The Viper already doing a little bit of abducting. We'll knock down a couple of siege tanks as we go. Serral's supply. Okay, Serral's supply looks good coming out, but most importantly, he still has money to rebuild and maybe go take advantage of the lack of supply of his opponent and the lack of instant rebuild that a Terran has. He's going to choose to build Corruptors, so it looks as though Serral is choosing his moment now to maybe get a set of Broodlords out and to go from there. Well, I don't hate it. Play a much kind of, you know, maybe a slower army comp, but one that can be more difficult for the Terran to actually work against. Nine Broodlords on the way. We have a Ghost that just cloaks up. I believe we've got ourselves a nuke ready to launch, so expect that to be a factor as tries to come down this right side. Remember now, guys, that +3 weapon Hellbats no longer one-shot Broodlings, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was one of the updates on the patch, so this late game will not be Broodlings getting cleaned up as quickly as they were before. Was it Broodlings or Zerglings that changed? Either way, the Hellbats are a little bit worse than they used to be in this late game, so Serral just finds that in time to knock down only 3 drones. Moves away from it being any more. Here come the Broodlords. I mean, immediately, the only answer to Broodlords right now really is Ghosts, which is good, but not when the Infestor support is there, so it could be a little bit funky as we drop the Broodlings down. We start to work our way over to this side. So yeah, I didn't mean Broodlings, I meant Zerglings, but as the +3 vehicle weapons comes up, that's still a factor at this point in the game where the Hellbats will not one-shot Lings, so you maybe use Lings a bit better than you used to. Obviously, Broodlings only have 20 HP. They're going to get one-shot by anything. Sorry, guys. Getting myself confused. I'm trying to make a point. This new patch, it's still got some learning to do on it. As that Lings jump on a couple of those tanks. This Planetary Fortress is going to get busted. This is huge for Serral. Denying an important base of the Terran economy that he kind of does at some point need. This base for Serral is one that the Terran's meant to have. It's fine if the Terran takes that down, I think. That's okay. Because for Serral, it's not a base he was using, it was a base he was more kind of keeping overhead. You just kind of, you know, keeping there to kind of make sure that if you want to take that base to the Terran, you've got to send something there to deny it first. For Serral, that use of minerals is honestly not a bad one, as Infestors find some units pressing forward, and the Lings are going to come through, and we'll see just there some of those Lings surviving that Blue Flame Hellbat shot. As we get going again, a couple of Broodlings dropping down, and well, our Broodling's actually going all the way through, hitting forwards, and the missile turret goes down as well. Q has never really quite been able to max out again, and again, so far hasn't found an answer to the Broodlords, although he does have Thors in production, and Thors should be a big part of how he could defend against these. How about tank works all the way around that left side. Lingbane Hydra setting up. We're going to go for a jump. First couple of tanks here get blinding clouded. Serral is starting to lose a lot of units just, I want to say almost haphazardly, you know? Like, very... Yeah, I mean, it feels like Kira's just kind of giving up portions of his army, and Serral is taking advantage. Another nice fungal growth. These Liberators getting caught. Now Neural Parasite will siege up on top of these units. These Libs need to be shot down. If you don't shoot these Liberators down, they're going to do so much to you. They will now die. Fungal growth going off on the Halibats to stop their advance. The Broodlords staying out of reach of the Thors. Kira cannot get his Broodlord answer in range of the Broodlords at the moment. He is having trouble. And Serral, 25 minutes deep here on hard lead, is putting in the work necessary to put himself into maybe a winning position. This felt very bad for him 10-ish minutes ago, but he's played a beautiful last 10 minutes of the game where he's just slowly carved things back in his favor. 10k resource loss difference, how about 5k? So he's brought that back 5,000 resources. That's so difficult to do as a Zerg that typically plays with the less efficient army. And yet Serral has made a massive stamp on being able to get it done as Broodlords move forward here. A few Broodlords will get to work. There is a nuke to respect. I don't think we get an Overseer far enough forward to target that goes down. Serral will try and take the top right as Q's attention clearly goes elsewhere, focusing on trying to protect the left side base. The thing is, though, Serral can now push this base while you've also got to protect this base as Q. It's difficult for Q to have everything he needs in the right place. There are the Thors going to try and get some shots off on these initial Broodlords. As the Broodlords get into that mineral line, Broodlings are picking away at some of these SCVs. Boundary Fortress will fall. I'm still struggling to really find an answer to the Broodlords. They are the one thing that Serral has had so much success with in this game. They have really only just come out, and yet since they came out, even when Thors have come around, they've continued to hold their own and get so much done. Up to the left, couple of Vipers will lead the charge in. This Thor gets abducted. Our Lings will go surrounding. Bane's coming over. A couple of tanks are going to get knocked down. Banelings continue across, and we just have ourselves a command center orbital lifting up into the skies. And this army of Kira continues over to the left with all of these Thors included. As we'll knock down a few more Zerglings. A few more Lings going down. 44 Lings and a Viper. And make it 13 Banelings as well. All being brought out. This army of our Terran player still getting settled. Well, again, Q is at 145 supply. He's drained on minerals. He's got no gas income. The gas is mined out on all of his current bases, so this is his only gas income. And that's why it becomes so important to be able to get these bases up. That's why it's been so important for Serral to keep him off these bases for so long. Because now there's a point in this game where Q is not able to fight with as big as an army as he could have been fighting with. And it's simply because Serral did a good job of delaying these bases being taken. Otherwise, Q would have had more time in this game to battle with even numbers, which could have obviously had a big impact as more Lings still working their way around the right side. A few Mules will drop down just on that left-hand side as well. The Lings switching up to the top, going to get into the natural. Halibats are there, the few Lings going down. The factory is going to get jumped on. The Lings will go after that, and we do have ourselves the Halibats still coming across. There's a couple of Liberators moving around. Serral is maxed. Has been for a while, still got 6k, 4k in the bank. Finds his way up towards another missile turret, planetary fortress. Next on the list of things we just start to kill. Sense Tower there too is actually going to remove some of the vision that Q has been able to utilize. And slowly but surely at this point, Serral just chips his way through this army as those ghosts get fungaled. We lose 2, 3, not quite 4 of them as the Liberators try and come in. What we're going to do with these Libs, we're going to abduct them forward into the Hydras. Yeah, we just take everything we're given. Any unit you're losing right now, gas units especially, God, are they impossible to replace for Q. He has this gas mining. That's all the gas he currently has on the map, especially if he never retakes this base up here. Serral should really drop drones on these extractors and just start mining it. But if no other reason, to stop his opponent getting back to it. He actually has 2k gas here as well. That's why this base was important to kind of hold on to and why it was kind of more difficult to then take this base, because he got this base, but it came at the cost of giving up this base, and now we have no gas mining as this base evacuates from the Zergling run-by. Halibats are there, and Serral will fall back from them. Ling is just finishing up the refineries, making this as difficult as possible. And again, Serral is going to at least have some counter-attack to deal with in the upper right. The drones will have to pull away from that top right-hand corner. And Zergling's back in the center. Broodlords are still zooming around, man. They're still zippy, those Broodlords, aren't they? You guys remember when Broodlords were like, you know, really kind of slow and it was very difficult to trade against Broodlords? You had to kind of like base trade them because they were so slow. It was like, okay, well, this works. Man, they zip around maps nowadays, don't they? Thor's coming from the upper right side. Lings are going to storm the left. Although there's Hellbats there, so I guess they won't get very far. And again, you're just slowly chipping into deeper and deeper the defensive lines of Huron. You know, the infrastructure that might help you to hold. Every time you get a little bit further forward, it's just going to be a massive benefit to you as our Broodlords pull back once again. Lingbane and Fester. It's back to the center, and again, plenty more Thors building up still for the moment. The missile turret would like to go down. A couple of SCVs already being picked up as our Zerglings gonna run through. A couple of SCVs get chased. Tank gets picked off on the upper right side. Ling, Bane, Hydra Lurker joins. Two drones gonna work all the way out the far right as our Thors, Hellbats. And they continue to move around, and we just got ourselves a Liberator in the top left moving about as well. Blinding Clouds dropping down. Neural Parasite good onto some of these Thors, good onto some of these Libs. And that means that this is just going to help you to initiate this engagement. All the Broodlords took a bit of a beating. Now the Banes are going to try and roll through. Serral, remember, has loads of money to rebuild with. So as these Banes kind of roll by, he's just going to knock down economy. He's going to say to Kyo, well, you definitely can't rebuild from this. Serral can. And the thing is, now Serral can custom make his army based on what's left from the Terran player, which is kind of just Thor Hellbats. Well, he doesn't need Broodlords anymore, right? You know, Hydras, and maybe even some Lurkers. Impossible to kill with this army composition of Cure. So I think Serral just realizes, you know, he's done enough. He's kept the economy down from the Terran. The Terran has basically no options but to go with this force. Serral might not even need to make the Lurkers. Lingbane Hydra might just get it done because any amount of Lings tanking against these Thors are probably going to do well. You can see that Q is going to try and run away, but these Thors are not exactly quick. Hydra's on creep to help catch up as well. This is going to be the final fight. Some EMPs on the Infestors, but Q has to type GG at 31 minutes. Serral completes the 3-2 victory for Team World.